Hi there, MinnoTankers. I'm Ken Barton, future Forbes 30 Under 30, an openly gay and LGBT founder of MinnoTank. Today, we have a uniquely positioned startup to pitch our investors. In just a moment, you'll meet Jodi Lasky, founder of ThePride. The problem Jodi is solving has afflicted millions of people in the USA and has been brought to a boiling point this year on social media. Stay tuned to see how Jodi is going to solve this massive problem and create a supportive community with her tech startup, ThePride. Enjoy the pitch.
Last year, I was sexually assaulted. And it really shook me to my core because I always thought I could get myself out of any situation I found myself in. Until that moment, I had. But that day, I sat there trying to safely end the situation, and I couldn't. I knew that if my phone rang, I could excuse myself to take the call, but it didn't. I just had to sit there and wait for him to be done. My name is Jodi Lasky. I'm founder of ThePride, and it is my goal that no woman ever again feel what I did in that moment. ThePride enables women to end sexual harassment and assault using a fob and app to ensure she gets that perfectly timed phone call, allowing her to end the interaction. The hardware is fully developed and in production, as is the iOS app. We are providing a service and building a brand and community that will be profitable by next year. 2017 was the year we talked about the problem. 2018 must be the year that we do something about it. So join me in ensuring that our daughters get to say, "Not me."
Thank you, Jodi, for that impactful elevator pitch. Not sold on the fact that the Me Too movement is changing the world? Stay tuned for Jodi's deeper dive into her startup's future in the deck pitch up next.
Last year, I was sexually assaulted. And it shook me to my core because I always thought I could get myself out of any situation I found myself in. Until that moment, I had. But that day, I sat there trying to safely end the situation, and I couldn't. I knew that if my phone rang, I could excuse myself to take the call, but it didn't ring. And so I had to just sit there and wait for him to be done and be grateful that he didn't escalate the situation further. My name is Jodi Lasky, and I'm founder of ThePride, and it is my goal for no other woman to feel again what I did at that moment. When I first started talking about ThePride, I'd be asked, how big of a problem is this really? And then in October, Alyssa Milano tweeted and asked victims of sexual harassment and assault to say "Me Too." And what started as a catchphrase became a hashtag and then a global movement. And it started in California with the elite, but it grew, crossing socioeconomic, racial, national, religious, and every other boundary there is. This is a global systemic problem. So how do you solve a systemic problem? You don't. You start with a small, manageable chunk. And for us, that is women in college, where 1 in 4 women in US colleges will be assaulted from the time she arrives on campus until the time she graduates. 1 in 4. The engineers I used to work with would tell me that to solve a problem, you have to acknowledge it, measure it, experiment, and then choose the right answers. ThePride both allows for ongoing measuring of the problem and is one of the effective solutions. ThePride enables women to safely end sexual harassment and assault by using a Bluetooth fob and app to ensure that she gets that perfectly timed phone call, allowing her to end the interaction. We do this by providing our users with multiple tiers of alerts. The first tier sends a text to her pre-selected friends and family members, and the second is an automated call. Most of the time, the phone call will be sufficient to allow her to end the conversation and move on. In the future, we will add a third level using vetted members of the Pride family to intervene. We also want to provide access to support and use the data from the Pride to make the whole community safer. This is a global opportunity and a global market. The women in college portion of the market is $425 million. But when we spread out to the rest of the US market that we're looking at in the near and mid terms, it's a $3 billion market. And once we start looking at the global opportunities, there are 1 billion people in the world who are either female or members of the LGBT plus community who have smartphones. And that's the total market, which of course means there's a lot of competition for these people. The most commonly used ones today are apps, but the apps require you to have your phone out and open and for you to be using that app for it to be helpful. It's not realistic in most of the situations. We also have hardware competitors. They are between 3 and 10 times our cost, and they're not scalable or retail ready because their manufacturing lines can't support it. We can produce 150,000 units a month, and we're not only retail ready, but we're retail launched. We launched this month in 7 stores around the country, including the Macy's in New York City. But more importantly, we're more than just a wearable company like they are. We are building a brand and a community so we far outlast the wearables. Our business model is 3-pronged. We've got the consumer side where we sell the hardware, the subscriptions, and the accessories. But we also have 2 B2B models using referrals to appropriately vetted professionals, as well as providing access to appropriate organizations to the anonymized data. Our financial model predicts that we will be cash flow positive by the end of next year. And the way we're going to be able to do that is through the use of strategic partnerships. We are currently in talks with several major universities, both from the grassroots up and the administration down, to do large-scale testing. We'll also be offering relevant classes, such as self-defense and bystander awareness, and using more traditional methods, such as public relations, social media, and speaking engagements, to get the word out about the Pride and build that community. I've got an amazing team behind me to make this happen. Ruby 3 is an app development company out of Brazil. Exit and BW are our Chinese manufacturing partners. And I have advisors out of the real estate startup world, as well as a legal advisor. I'm currently raising $250,000, which along with the money that we raise in retail will get us through the next 12 months. Last year, we talked about the problem. 2018 must be the year that we do something about it. So join me in ensuring that our daughters and our nieces get to say, not me. Thank you.
Jodi, although you are tackling a difficult subject that is often hard to discuss, I, for one, am grateful you are solving sexual assault through entrepreneurship. If you're a founder like Jodi, you know it can be difficult to reach the right investors who will believe in what you are building. Whether you're a tech startup raising $250,000 to solve sexual assault, or a tech startup raising $10 million to serve up advertising that actually pays its customers to watch, MinnoTank is the best place to reach your future investors, early adopters of your product, tech enthusiasts and evangelists for you, and even possibly your future employees. Apply to pitch on MinnoTank.com. Again, I'm Ken Barton, future Forbes 30 Under 30, and I'll see you next week with another awesome tech startup pitch. Thanks for watching.